Okay, hello. Good evening, goeienaand, siyabonga, whatever we want to say. And welcome to this 6 p.m. live stream on a Tuesday night. And I'm not going to keep you guys too long, so we'll jump right in. I'm absolutely bloody exhausted. It's been one heck of a day. It's been one heck of a week, and it's only the end of Tuesday. So I got pulled into two projects, two pretty cool projects that I can't tell you about yet because the people involved in them that I'm involved with that pulled me in don't want anyone else to know until we've succeeded in cementing these projects. But they're significant, and you'll know hopefully by the end of this week about them. Hopefully by Thursday at the latest, there'll be some major media announcement. I'm hoping that then we'll keep everyone in the loop and tell you what it is. But self-defense, farm ownership, all these good things are involved. And on the second project, it's a more legislative license a person register the firearm project, which is, as some of you on my email list may have noticed, I erroneously published an article about how to contact your MPs, which I then immediately pulled off the website. There's a good reason I pulled that article. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. That will eventually run, but there's a few other things that need to happen in the meantime before I can run that article again and bring you all back into the loop. So that's been more of a busy. Rian Kutsia of Burritos is very kind to send me a packet of coffee that I was supposed to dangle in front of you at the moment, which I'm not going to go fetch because it's all the way over there, pretty far away. But if you want to buy the coffee, this is my only commercial shilling. There is a link below or above this video that you can click on, and they make good coffee. So that's that. So yeah, hello everybody. Goeienaand, Charles, Alan, St. Andre, Mr. Punisher, Heine, Laurie, and the usual suspects. It's great to see you. All the Facebook folk, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and move across there as well. At some stage, I would like to do the majority of my broadcasting from there. This is now simultaneously broadcasting off both, so you're not missing out either way. But please join the cool kids on the YouTube channel if you don't mind. Hello, Sonia Net. I know the Facebook comments are more fun. But I do like the YouTube stuff as well. So eventually get that subscriber base right up there. So yeah, that's been me. It's been this entire thing landed on me on Thursday last week, and it's just gone nuts since then. And it's been a really good time. It's also been quite stressful. I've got about 5 articles I need to publish. I'm trying to get the whole license the person register the firearm thing in the public domain as much as possible. And I would have had a whole bunch of really cool guests lined up this week, Mike Schisler being one of them, but he's going to come chat to us next week, Tuesday, about economics. And I'll hopefully have a few other guests on board as well soon. This week is a bit of a write-off when it comes to live streams. I'm trying to get to a funeral in Pretoria on Saturday. And so Friday, flying up, coming back on Sunday. So Whiskey Friday is unfortunately cancelled. It'll be postponed until next week. And there's a few other things that's happening in the meantime. But we'll be back to regular programming from next week onwards. So I just wanted to take this time to at least check in with all of you guys. Hello, Wolfont. I know it feels a bit impersonal. So I'll never stop broadcasting on either. I'm just trying to, get my audience up on both, just in case Facebook pulls another shadow ban on me. I'm so excited. I'm picking up my Section 13 pistol. Excellent, Charles. Congratulations again. What did you get, by the way? What handgun did you, what did you buy? Yichu, goeienaand, good to see you. And Dean, good to see you as well. So that's the current state of Baratus. Oh, I forgot. The merchandising thing is going well. The caps. Now, I don't want to say too much yet, but they are Uflex. So it's a nice internationally recognized brand. They're high quality stuff. The embroidery is going to be high quality. I should be getting the mock-ups within the next few days. And then we're just going to hook up the web portal and the actual online store on the supplier side and link it to my website to make the purchasing and distribution as easy as possible, as also to make it as cheap as possible for people, because times are tough financially. Oh, other exciting thing. One of our readers, Mr. Siebert, is sending me the Shot Duino. It's a completely locally manufactured shot timer to review. So I should be getting my hands on the review copy this week at some stage. It's also a project I really like. I like the fact that we've got locally manufactured shot timers. That's awesome. It's the same with the Ronnie review, which I need to start getting cracking on tomorrow. Again, I'm falling woefully behind on everything. Everything. It's just a complete mess, but it's an exciting mess. Charles, hello. Okay. CZP10C, you're a CZ kid. How disappointing. No, I'm kidding. Good call. Make that gun work for you, dude. Go make sure. Trevor keeps misking whiskey. It's not. All right, let's call it something else. It's not cancelled. It's just postponed by a week due to like completely unforeseen circumstance. A bit of a black swan event caused that happening. But we'll get you on a Whiskey Friday, I promise. Make sure you get one live. Yeah, Carl, you weren't the only one who did this. I got about 2 or 3 people sending me emails. I was like, oh, I'm sorry that went out. That was not supposed to publish. I cancelled the scheduling on the WordPress thing, and it wasn't scheduled anymore. And then it still ran at 8 a.m. On Monday morning. And I was just like, God, the egg on face there, but not as much egg on face as the portfolio committee, who has a full inbox clearly. Yes to the shot timer. I'm excited. I'm very excited about that project. How's it, Graham and Lawrence and Gideon? I've got something that I know you all want, but you can't see it. Okay, but to be honest, apart from the actual design mock-up, I do not have a physical mock-up of it, but go look at the Uflex caps. Go check out the quality of the stuff. That is the type of quality this cap is going to be. And for good reason, quite a bit cheaper than you can buy it on the actual local website. I'm quite impressed with that. Like, I was expecting it to cost a hell of a lot more, and I'm really glad it isn't. And there's still a profit margin built in there, so at least I won't have to subsidize my own merchandise. The name of the company is Shot Duino. Let me see if I can find their Facebook address for you guys. But they are based in Kempton Park. And it's called Shot Duino because it's based on the Arduino circuit board thing. Really cool looking thing. Goodness, I can't even publish you a link, but I can actually probably put a picture of it on the stream. So let me go and put a picture up here for you guys of what the Shot Duino looks like. I must just upload it quickly, and then I'll do it as an overlay. Then you can at least see what it looks like. This is probably not the most. There you go. That's a Shot Duino. That's a Shot Duino shot timer. It actually is 3D printed case on the outside, and then the circuit board is manufactured in Cape Town and Belleville, I believe. And the buttons and stuff come from somewhere else again, and a lot of the rest of it's all manufactured in Johannesburg. So, locally manufactured shot timer, and apparently it works a charm. So I'm quite excited to try it out when I get it. I don't sound too keen on PvP. Listen, there's nothing wrong with it. So my own personal experience. So bear in mind, this is highly biased. This is me. This is not me telling you it's not a good handgun. It clearly is a good handgun. Otherwise, it wouldn't be made and it wouldn't sell so well. It's just having attended a few combatives courses and defensive pistol courses that usually take up your whole Saturday. I've realized with the Glock being a big, meaty slide and with very few controls on there to complicate things at all, I had a lot easier time keeping the pistol running and in the fight, especially when I'm tired and sweaty and bloody, than the guys with the CZs that had a narrower grip area on the slide. They had sharp sights and they had a lot more controls to worry about and get hung up on. It doesn't mean that they couldn't keep the gun in the fight. It was just a lot easier for me and easier in general for the guys with the Glocks to keep the Glock in the fight. So as a fighting handgun, if I had to tell people to buy a fighting handgun, I would recommend a Glock 19 or 17 or whatever works for you in that range. but that does not mean that that's the only option available. And ultimately, you should also pick something that works for you and that you can make to work, because mindset leads, training feeds, and equipment's the third thing only that follows. Look, you need the equipment, but ultimately, it's not the be all or end all of fighting, of gunfighting, of shooting. Yes, the hoodies, I'm still on them. I'm all over them like ugly over a warthog. But I'm hoping that as soon as the South African factories start feeding supply of these hoodies back into the system, that I can get the sizes I need, because at the moment I'm restricted to small and 2XL. There are no mediums, no larges, no extra larges. So I could probably get a few hoodies made, but hardly any of you folks are going to be able to find the size unless you're smaller 2XL, which bit of a problem. I might just make more of you unhappy than happy. Hello, Andre. Price range on the shot timer. I'm going to have to ask Mr. Siebert about it, because it's on his Shotduino is quite literally on the Facebook page, but he has manufactured and sold quite a few, and you can get them at the quartermaster.coza. That's Craig Gadd's outfit, really cool store. So yeah. I am, unfortunately, although I do own 2 Heckler & Koch pistols as well, which I carried and I loved, and I still do, and I still like shooting them. So I'm not biased particularly in any direction. No China shot timer. Nope. This shot timer is South African. So murawapi. Yeah, dude, I'm not going to do the flat. That's not me. I understand there's some people that like those flat build caps. I like the curved peaks. It needs to look like a proper traditional baseball cap, like this one, really. So this is a Condor one, and to be honest, okay, I like the fact that it doesn't have a thing on the top, which unfortunately I haven't been able to get right with the local manufacturers. But in general, so it'll have the nice curved peak like that you can do with as you want. But to be honest, the quality of the Condor caps made in China, unfortunately. So, I mean, there's that problem with them. I just haven't found them to be particularly high quality or nice to wear. I do wear them because they're among the nicer caps I own, but I'd like to get something a bit better than, if I can. CZP there's a copy of the book. It should be fine. I'm sure it will be. Have a chat to Rowan about his experience. Oh, by the way, I love the M&P series. Huge fan, especially of the Shield. Now, the M&P 9, full size and compact, shot those, loved them. Awesome handguns. And the Shield, I'm particularly fond of. What an awesome little pocket pistol, and it handles and shoots like a much bigger one. So I have a massive soft spot for the M&P series of pistols. There we go. Yeah, I think it was the P07 that the guys are really getting hung up on, but I am talking under correction. The P10 probably will work better. But again, I'm just going to stick to what I know. That's me. Indeed, Stephen, indeed. Yes, exactly. The Hawaiian shirts, yes. They'll be ready for summer, and hopefully by then everyone will have made some money again and you can afford them, because they are going to be slightly more pricey. 2,000 for the Shotduino. That is comparable to the stuff, the shot timers from that we import. And to be honest, with which quality I wasn't particularly impressed, the imported shot timers at all. But that's me. Again, Taurus, when in doubt, throw it. Yeah, and you'll definitely give someone a skull fracture if the Taurus connects. Would be great if we can raise our arms in the hoodie and not blow cover, by the way. Modern shirts are you know what? I will test drive that. And give you feedback on my own hoodies. If it's the same ones that I think if it's the exact same hoodies as I think they are going to be, that should not be a problem. You should be more than adequately covered. Yaku, thank you so much for posting the link on the Facebook page, so you guys can find it there if you need to. After my defensive shooting, how long did it take to get my farm work? I am not a good benchmark for this. Okay, the way my shooting's aftermath was handled was, pardon my French, but was a clusterfuck of incompetence. My docket got lost and misplaced more times than I can remember. It went from investigating officer to investigating officer to investigating officer. There were so many administrative hiccups. It took 3 years. My HKUSP was in the SAP 13 lock for 3 bloody years. Amazingly not rusted to pieces or lost or sold to gangsters or anything like that in that time period. But yeah, that's the case. It's a good point, Hannes, but in all fairness, I think with import issues, with the price of space on cargo aircraft and ships at the stage being a premium, with exchange rate things, I don't think we're in for a fun time with accessory prices in general with magazines. Would be really cool if a company like Magpul can do the same thing they did with the Glock mags, where you got Magpul magazines, but they were compatible with Glocks. I have a few for mine. They work really, really well. I think the company did a good job. I think it would be great if we could see some third-party manufacturing of M&P magazines and stuff like that as well. I don't think there's any reason why not. Alternatively, if a South African company, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, would like to take it upon themselves to start manufacturing third-party firearm accessories like mags and whatever, I understand economies of scale are a problem. I understand economies of scope are a problem, but there is an export market out there. So if you want to do that, you might be able to exploit it as well. Who knows? And ultimately, we also need to grow the South African firearm owning fraternity, which I think to a large degree we are successfully doing. It's much healthier than it was a few years ago. People are much more involved than they were a few years ago. And I think people take this stuff a lot more seriously than they did a few years ago. So I'm quite, I'm hopeful there might be scope for this, especially now. Like right now after this crisis, great time to start pivoting, because the traditional economy is in trouble. And I don't know if I'm going to be flying planes again anytime soon, if ever. I've made peace with that. I've made peace with the fact that career-wise, I might have to become a talking head on YouTube, write articles, which I will never hide behind a paywall, and sell merchandise to you good folks. There are several AR-15 22 conversion kits available. The downside is it'll be an upper which you'll have to license as a separate upper. It might still be cheaper than buying a brand new AR in .22 configuration, although the M&P 1522 wasn't retailing for ridiculous money last time I checked, so that might still be a cheaper option than getting and licensing a .22 upper for your AR-15, but worth exploring again. Love, hate my H&K VP9. Love my Glock 21. The VP9 is awesome. I've never shot one. I just love everything about it. Alan, can we talk about me finger banging your pistol, please? I would love to do that. Mag needs to be uber super reliable. You cannot cheap out of them. Well, that's the thing. But also magazines are not exactly rocket science. I mean, it's a shell with a follower and a spring. And you just need to get these components to work reliably together. And it's just an element of just taking the time and making a good design. In fact, the design already exists. You just need to reverse engineer it and make the third party, get around the legalities of it and make the third party product. So yeah, I think Charles kind of answered that question already. Laurie, still very underrepresented from a female perspective. We need to drive the education of women that firearms aren't evil and that they are led to believe. Well, the good thing is at least you got you and Beth and a whole bunch of other really, really cool South African women becoming really loud about it, especially ones in the black community, which was always huge, not hugely anti-gun. Let me rephrase, but the one positive spin-off, and there is developments going in this direction, which I'm not allowed to tell you about yet, but just hang in there with me, okay? Like, just the whole gender-based violence thing has opened up a wonderful new angle to attack, protest activism and say, well, are we really empowering anyone? Really? I mean, I understand the sentiments, but are we truly empowering anyone to protect themselves and to escape bad situations by just marching in the streets and screaming in the newspapers about it? There are tangible, real solutions that are implementable immediately that might not solve the entire problem, but it solves an aspect of it and upon which you can build. And encouraging female self-defense, firearm ownership, this sort of stuff is going in a big way. Although firearm ownership takes time and is expensive, start somewhere else in the meantime and work your way towards it. It's a whole mindset change that's needed. So yeah, there's huge scope for stuff like this. Glad the Shotduino is doing so well, motivating me to get my own projects back up and running. Cheap shot time and reactive laser targets. Hannes, go for it. The more this sort of stuff, and there's a whole bunch of South African laser active targets and things already in development on our own a product of this, and I think it's great stuff. I think we need more of this, and I will do a video on what I have and how my training and dry fire setup works at home, and then people can at least see. As I enter the stream, the first words out of my mouth, Alan, we could talk about how do you know me, Angus? How do you know me? And for them to actually carry, I know a few ladies with firearms that only get out after going to the range. Look, this is not a female-only problem, though. This is a huge, huge, huge general issue. Carry culture in South Africa is not as healthy as it should be. It's something that needs to be addressed. It's something that I think needs to be encouraged by engaging with people more and saying, look, your gun in the safe is great. It's not going to help you. If you're in real trouble right now, having your gun in the safe, it may as well be on the moon for all intents and purposes. We have a saying in aviation that, you know, the most useless things in aviation is runway behind you, altitude above you, and fuel in the Bowser back at the airport. None of those things, they're great, they're there. You don't have them, they mean nothing now. So it's the same thing with a pistol or a revolver or whatever in the safe. When you need it, useless to you. And that kind of brings me in a weird segue back to Paratus and what we've got planned for it. So I obviously want to roll out more things than just caps and hoodies, but not flood the market at the same time. I mean, I need to give you guys stuff to look forward to, right? So we'll do an item, we'll do a few items every season, and it gives you some variety, and it gives my creative outlet and my designer creative outlet so that we can work as a team and bring some stuff that's actually cool and that people would want to wear. And it's not just a novelty. It's actually something that speaks to you or has a message or, you know, is just fun to wear or whatever. You know, it's something that you don't just have to wear to the range, although prefer you do, but wherever you want to. And then to a point, maybe have like a Paratus membership system where you still access everything, but we give you a free item with every annual membership. And then we still give you like a 25% discount on all other merchandise. So maybe throw some other cool stuff in there. So if you guys have ideas, if there's something that you would want and say, look, the publication is offering a membership scheme. This is kind of what the thoughts are about it. But hey, as someone who would put money down for it, what would you like to get in return for it? Because again, I don't want to start hiding articles behind paywalls and stuff, because the message is more important than the money. But at the same time, also would like to keep the publication running, monetize it a bit and professionalize it a bit while still speaking my mind and still swearing on my channels, because that's why you guys really are here and having these interactive live streams. But ultimately, it's a case of if someone gives me something, I also want to give them something back to make it worth their while, to make it a bit special, to say, hang on, I've contributed something to this publication, and Gideon's actually come to the party and given me something back. So let me have it. Give me your ideas. And yeah, that's kind of why we're here. Hannes, carry mags, if you should only use factory mags, but for sport shooting and range practice mags that bear the brunt of punishment, cheaper to exactly. Don't wreck your super scarce factory magazines then at the range with sport shooting, because you can afford to have the slightly less reliable ones then fuck out. Although, to be honest, if competently manufactured, you should be able to get away with that. It should work. But yeah, no, good point. What about the Oaks who only gym arms have guns heavily armed? Hang on, I'm getting an incoming call that I will return in a moment. How easy is it to convert Section 15 to ST? It's not difficult. I know a lot of people that have done it this way around and the other way around. It's doable, but ultimately it's almost easier to just get a new Section 13. My question is, why would you want to convert it? Is there any specific reason you feel the need to convert it? Because you can legally carry that Section 15. There's nothing that inhibits you, and you won't get into any trouble for using it defensively either, unless, of course, you would like to get another type of gun for your Section 15. You want to make that slot open, in which case I kind of do understand why you want to do that. Brad, how's it? I think the problem with carrying is that when you get somewhere and see a no gun sign, what now? You need to educate people where you can't carry this. So you did not hear this from me, but the no gun signs, unless it's in places like SARS offices and whatnot and courtrooms, they are usually not enforced. It's a case of right to admission reserved. So you can go, make sure you conceal properly, don't tell anybody. But then if you are caught and asked to leave, you have to leave. Otherwise, you're trespassing, and you don't want to trespass because that's an offense. And but it's a very much a case of don't ask, don't tell. So, and that's something that people also need to bear in mind, is that a lot of the times these no gun signs are purely a generic right of admission that a lot of venues put up because someone somewhere in their corporate structures advised them that this is just their way. Ultimately, they want as little liability for what happens in their own premises as possible. So they don't want you to bring a gun in there, but they also don't want to be held responsible for your personal safety. It's the grandest bit of security theater and pathetic cop-out I've ever seen. Ultimately, there's no reason for these people to even have an anti-gun sign on. And a lot of shopping centers have removed theirs. At one stage, Canal Walk in Cape Town didn't allow guns. That sign was then removed quietly. Like, they didn't announce it. It was just not there anymore. Can't find them anymore. And a lot of other places I found as well, shopping centers, little retail parks, where there used to be little, no guns allowed signs, have just sort of disappeared quietly. So perhaps a lot of us also having in public said, you don't want to take responsibility for our safety, but you don't want us to come in here carrying guns. Like, who the fuck do you think you are, and how does your brain work? That's something that might be worth, also talking about at some stage. Sorry, I'm just getting back to the rest of the comments. Okay. All right. But we'll work out a way how this can benefit everyone. All right. So it's not just going to be, you have two firearms and your revolver is ST. Okay, now I understand completely. Do you want to get rid of the revolver, Saint Andre? Just because it's pretty easy. You can sell the revolver, so that slot opens, and you just then change the license of your Section 15. You just have to put in a new application to migrate it across, but your Section 15 license should then still remain valid until the Section 13 one kicks in, I think. Ahmed, hello to my one Algerian viewer, subscriber. It's good to see you here always. No, Graham, no. I'm not going to do an only... for those of you who know what Graham's talking about, good. For those of you who don't know, please don't ask what OnlyFans is. And no, I'm not going to... I'm only so desperate for your money, Graham. Let me see. Magpul for the win. How's it, Jonathan? My co-conspirator, or rather, I'm your co-conspirator in one or two projects. We'll see what happens there. They don't allow it. But based on what? I'm pretty sure the law still allows it. If they just issued a random directive, then that's complete bullshit then. I would suggest getting legal opinion if they just suck, because this is typical if they just suck rules out of their arse, because I know so many people who converted sections without any problems. It's not a nice thing to do, and there isn't necessarily a reason for it, but if they really don't allow you to convert sections, then they must fuck off and die. Well, the entire CFR must fuck off and die, but again, that's me. Hugo, I actually received an SMS of my license being approved. Goodness. You started the application 2 years ago, and that's how long it took for them to well done for keeping with it. A lot of people would probably have given up by now, but well bloody done. Jonathan, that's exactly what it is. It's pure security theater. The no guns allowed signs are complete nonsense. What's the best way for me to replace my Section 13 pistol with something else without a firearm for an extended period of time. Ideal would be to just swap out, but we have the FCA. So if you are not obligated to sell what you currently have for money to afford another firearm, what I would suggest you do is just license another one on Section 15 and not worry about it too much. What are you currently carrying, Anthony? What is your current Section 13, just as a matter of interest? Yes, they are bloody hilarious. What did Alan say? Can you babies get with the program? Move to YouTube. I used to work inside Canal Walk for 3 years. For 3 years, I walked past a no-gun side carry. It's exactly what we all did, right? And it's what we all continue to do whenever we go to, ironically, or not ironically, for a very good reason, there are no guns allowed signs at the V&A waterfront. And I suspect it's got something to do with all the celebrities go there and their protection details are always armed. And maybe the V&A waterfront is aware of this and they accommodate it. On the 7 years EDC, and you have yet to have a problem with no gun sign enforcement. Only place to ever found it was through detectors at Grand West. Yeah. And they do. By the way, Grand West Casino, very cool lockup facility. I don't know if Monte Casino in Joburg has something similar, but I'd imagine, funnily enough, that those are the two places that popped into my head. I said, that's probably where they pick it up, because they have the metal detectors at the entrance and they take their security quite seriously there because it's a casino, which makes sense. But apart from that, never, ever had a problem anywhere else. No, Ruger 357. Sorry, Andre, I'm just trying to... okay. You were answering somebody else there. I'm just catching up to your comments. This is one thing about StreamYard is when I scroll, they sometimes bounce up and down like a Jack Russell Terrier. Yes, the green license is indeed still king, and I think always will be. I think the government's waiting for everyone with these licenses to die. That's the only way they're going to get rid of that problem. It's not really even a problem. Yeah, you could actually just get it Section 16. All right. I can't understand why you'd want to change it, but get it on Section 16. My Section 13 is still my HK. I do still carry my HK, although I carry the Glock 19 far more often. It just makes more sense. And I just never bothered trying to swap the licenses around. Legal purpose. And to be honest, I use them for the reasons I licensed them in the first place. So that's it. Just the thing is, you're supposed to be honest on your license application. So use the gun for sports shooting, motivated for sports shooting, but there's nothing that then prevents you from carrying it. And if at some future date you want to then license it Section 30, this is a stupid thing about this. If they're playing hardball and they don't allow you to migrate license types anymore, but but we must be absolutely honest on our applications. They are forcing people to do stuff that they don't want to do in order to license guns. Again, this is how stupid the system is. So I would say get it on Section 16, do some sports shooting with it because you need to shoot your defensive gun anyway, and carry the one you want whenever you want. Oh, look, Jonathan is on YouTube. My wife's application is now past the 90 days. I contacted them and they're just using COVID excuse. Of course, COVID is now blamed for everything that's administratively going wrong in this country. Also, today was the last day government had to bring changes to the law because level 4 and 3 were declared unconstitutional, remember, and they had 14 business days to make those changes. Those 14 business days ran out today. They haven't appealed that judgment as far as I can tell. So now what happens from tomorrow? Because it's highly possible that the judgment then stands and everything that's on level 4, level 3 is unconstitutional. Now, I would like some legal opinion on this. If any of you have a legal opinion, if you know someone has, otherwise I'll speak to whichever lawyers I speak to and see if we can go do karate, play tennis, which we can already, sit down restaurants, beauticians, all that stuff. I would just open up and say, no, arrest me. I will sue you. I will sue you to pieces, Mr. Government, and I will buy my cigarettes now. Thank you. Andre, you also want to get rid of my ST? I said, no, it's a Ruger Police 6357. And okay, no, I understand why you wouldn't want to get rid of that. I totally get it. In which case, I'd keep it. And I'd carry the section 15 whenever I want. It's just easier. It's possible to migrate probably, but with all the idiocy going on right now, I don't know if it's going to be worth the frustration for you, to be brutally honest. Get on section 16 and carry it once approved, sell the Taurus and fund another. There you go. Always get good advice on this channel, don't we, folks? And there you go, Anthony. I think Mr. van Rensburg also gave some good advice there. So, boom. Folks, on that bombshell, I know I've only been going for 35 minutes. I am absolutely bloody exhausted. I had an hour and a half conference call about this project today. I've got another hour and a half conference call waiting for me early tomorrow morning, and I still have to eat dinner. But I will check in with you guys again in a interactive live stream on Thursday, and I might be able to do one on Friday morning. Otherwise, next week, regular programming. I will keep you in the loop on the Facebook page. I'll try to keep you in the loop on the Twitters, and I'll keep you on the loop on the actual website. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for always tuning in and talking nonsense with me. I really appreciate all these interactions. It's awesome having you guys as an audience. If you come up with any creative ideas about what you would like as members of a sort of Paratus club or whatever you want to call it, let me know. I'm always open to suggestions because I'm not smart enough to think of these things on my own. I just like stealing other people's ideas because you're a lot brighter than me. Just answering the last few comments here, they have specific time period to appeal a judgment. I stand corrected, but I think it's 15 court days that runs out tomorrow. So tomorrow will be the last day. Okay, so everything comes to a head on this bullshit, this lockdown bullshit tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Punisher. Thank you, Carl, for this, and all of you guys for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday evening. Stay safe. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of the evening, and we will talk soon. Thank you, and good night.